Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Japanese Independent Alliance Tech Tree medium tank, the STA-3. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the STA-3, it is brand new medium tank that's the start of the brand new Japanese tech tree that is in Cold War. And what's it like as an entry-era vehicle? Well, as an entry-era vehicle, it's pretty good. And in fact, actually, I preferred playing this to the Type 61, which is the one after it. But it does what it does. It does what a lot of the other entry-era 1 medium tanks do, which is it can put itself about a bit. It has a gun that has a decent DPM. It can be very derpy at times that you sit there going, statistically, you're actually pretty accurate. Why did you hit the floor there? I've got 0.27 accuracy at 100 meters. Why did that hit the floor point blank? It does that all the time. Your DPM is pretty decent. You've got absolutely no armor, which is pretty consistent for most of the entry-era 1 vehicles in Cold War. And yeah, on the whole, for the grind, it's not too bad. And realistically, if you are going to be playing this vehicle and you want to move on to the next tank in the tech tree, I've seen people use a 3x booster, 4x booster, 5x booster, play one game, and they've got past it straight away, straight to the Type 61. For me, I didn't use boosters on this vehicle, and I completed the whole grind of this tank in 2 to 3 games. That was it. I played 2 games, and I had 90 XP left to fully upgrade and move past the Type 61. You spend no time whatsoever in Era 1 on the entry era and the mid-era vehicle. You spend most of your time on the final era vehicle, to be fair. So, for the STA-1, you have a 49.5 km/h top speed with the build that I run, with a 22 km/h reverse speed, which means you're fairly decently mobile, with a 570 horsepower engine, which is 16.77 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning you do get somewhere close to that top speed, which can be quite nice for the STA-3. You got 55.15 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which means this tank turns super duper quickly. It does turn very, very fast on its tracks, with ground resistances that don't hold the tank back whatsoever. 515 meters of view range is pretty decent for you to be able to spot for yourself in this vehicle in Era 1. 38.92 degrees a second on the turret traverse means your turret traverse is way slower than your tracks, so be careful of that in your STA-3, that if you turn to the left and you're trying to keep your turret on a target on the right, the turret will not keep up with the tracks and it will turn off of the target. You've got 0.46 accuracy during rotation, which is really good, with a 1.4 accuracy during movement, which as a combination with the build that we run is very, very nice. It means the aim circle doesn't bloom out that much at all, and if it does, you've got a 1.75 second aim time. That means that the aim circle does shrink very, very quickly. With 10 degrees of gun depression, you are very, very flexible on a ridgeline in the STA-3, and that's kind of where you want to be, limiting as much as people can see of your tank, because you have absolutely no armor, so it's quite nice to be able to make it so that you are pretty difficult to be able to get easy shots at. With a 0.27 accuracy at 100 meters, like I say, this gun is pretty accurate, but it doesn't feel it. Era 1 accuracy is really wonky anyway, and when you're getting such low levels of accuracy at 0.27, the shot should most of the time hit exactly where you're hitting. But that kind of shot happens all the time, where I've got the whole lower plate, mostly the upper plate, and for some reason the shot just goes underneath. You sit there going, why did that miss? Happens all the time in Era 1, and it's really frustrating with the STA-3, and it's something that's really frustrating with the Type 61, because it happens far more on that tank. You got a 4.38 second reload, which is 3.3k DPM, which is pretty nice for the vehicle, with 219 penetration on the standard AP, and 320 pen on the premium heat round, 45 pen on the HE, 914 meters a second shot velocity on the standard AP, with 1219 meters a second shot velocity on the premium heat, which means the heat round travels way quicker than the standard round, which is pretty good if you want that from it, and it means that if you switch to the heat round, you are going to be having to give a lot less lead with that shell than you will with the standard round. You got to be careful with 219 pen, as that can let you down at times against quite a few vehicles in Era 1, like the M103 that you saw earlier, and like the IS-4M. You really need to fire the 320 heat pen, and you saw me bouncing off of the lower plate of the IS-4M, and that's because heat and the random bits of spaced armor on the IS-4M's lower plate. If I just shot the upper plate, because the 320 pen is so good, I would have just gone straight through the upper plate of that guy every time, so it was a mistake on my part. But that game was a fairly average experience for the STA-3, realistically. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the STA-3? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, with the advanced loader, the gun stabilizer, and traction system. Traction system to get nearly the 50 km/h top speed so that I can at least be a bit more mobile, because if you don't help the top speed with the traction system, you do feel that little bit slow. The gun stabilizer to make that aim circle as small as you're seeing right there while on the move and during rotation, because getting that extra during movement rotation down as low as possible is really nice for always being able to shoot as you go. And having that aim circle be as small as you've just seen there is a great thing for the STA-3, because that's what that affects. With all 3 gun perks to make sure this gun is as good as possible, same as it is with the gun stabilizer, so that again we're ready to go and use the pretty decent DPM that this vehicle gets. The clutch braking to make the track traverse better, the rapid aim to make the turret traverse better, and then track mechanic because it's quite nice to get the tracks back on a little bit quicker if we've already blown the repair kit. That's my actual general MBT crew that I run. I run that in general MBTs all the way through Cold War, because it just sets the tank up for that jack of all trades, everything. It helps the gun in every way, it helps the turret traverse, helps the track traverse, it helps everything about the tank generally. And then the equipment, like I say, you run in the advanced loader to make that DPM as good as possible with the advanced loader and the traction system. So yeah, that's what I run on the STA-3. That's the statistics of the vehicle while it's fully kitted out. And like I say, that first game was very much a more average experience for the vehicle in Era 1, when you get pressured a bit and their team sort of collapses. Now we're on to the second replay. In the second replay, we're here on Swamp. And on Swamp, we're getting up behind the medium tanks that are pressuring my tanks at B0. And the reason I'm doing this is to basically move my tanks on, because what can happen quite often in Era 1, because it's a pretty easy era to play in, and the fact that a lot of new players play in this era, is that they'll get stuck on 2 tanks. So what you want to do is get rid of those tanks as quickly as possible, and then they'll push through, be very aggressive, and then you can help your team move on. Because, like I say, it's quite frustrating that it happens quite often in Era 1 where the teams do just get stuck and stop against 1 or 2 tanks. You're sitting there going, it's only a T95E, 2 T95E3s against at least 9 tanks. How have we not moved on yet? So if you can do what we just did there, get up behind them at CB0, you can shift them on, and then we can progress where we're going with the game. So we're now getting shots across the way at the TD and what was the TVP, or the Skoda, yeah, it was a TVP 50/51, who we kept permatracked, and that was something because we could see exactly where that guy's tracks were. We wanted to keep him pinned, and that's exactly what we did, which meant we could get rid of that autoloader, because the autoloader is pretty deadly at times if you don't get rid of it quickly enough. We're up to 4,060 damage with 234 assistance. 3 make that 4 kills now as we get the shot into the AMX-30A, and we're just going to go up on top of this ramp to see if we can get any shots at someone like the Conway or the medium tank down at E45, because from here, if they try and progress up that way, we should be able to get easy shots at them. Just keeping an eye on the ramp, because it is a Conway. If he's set up for camo, there's a likelihood that we're never going to see him as he does it, but there we go. He ends up getting spotted. We put a shot into him, and the AMX-30A finishes him off. So we see the STA-3 in the middle at D5. Most of the rest of their team are at B3. So we're just going to go pressure the STA-3 and the T95E3 that was pushing up the middle as well. Because if we can get up behind them, we can try and distract them from attacking my team, who are now stuck in a weird crossfire that are sat at the C5. We can distract that. We can shoot these guys as they're distracted trying to kill my guys. And we're helping out our dudes as well at that same point. So we get a shot into the side of the STA-3, finish him off for our 5th kill. Mr. T95E3, we're going to put a shot into the rear there that sets him on fire, and he gets shut down just before he burns out. Now there's a Conway in front of us. I think that's the same Conway from earlier, so we put a shot into his lower plate, finish him off for our 6th kill. That's our top gun. We'll take that. 5.5k damage. And I see the opportunity, Type 61 and the T34 that are in front of us. So we're going to try and jump on the T34 while getting the kill on the Type. We finish off the Type, get a little jump in, the most anticlimactic jump in the universe. I was hoping for so much more, so much airtime, and we didn't get it. T34 is a one-shot, and we finish him off there for our 8th kill of this game. We secure the Frost Heroes medal for that 6,083 damage, 234 assistance damage, and there's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. There's the medium tank directly in front of us, and an M46A1 somewhere else. So we get in on the STA-3, get a shot in RBRT on the move. He gets finished off, and sadly we're not going to get the chance to go after the M46A1 as we do end up capping that game out. We finished the game with a really nice total there for the STA-3. Finished with the victory, 8 kills, 6.3k damage, 234 assistance. The Frost Heroes, the Sniper, the High Caliber, the Top Gun, with that first class for 2,130 base XP. A really great game there for the STA-3. I imagine that probably will be an ace in the future. It's just that it's set to the hardest tank to ace for the tier and for the class, essentially. Whatever tank that is in Era 1. So, we're on to the third replay. In the third replay, we're here on this map, which is Halfaya Pass. Thank you, me, for showing the team listing there. On Halfaya Pass, we're going to just go a little bit up north. Now, this is a bit risky, because you never really know how the teams are going to go on this map. It tends to be that their team full sends the 9-0 line, and then our team either goes up north or goes to rush the position that's E7. And going to the rock area that I'm about to go to can be a little bit dodgy, because especially if their team do push it quite aggressively down the 9-0 and then send enough people that go sit on the little hilly area at E7, we can get caught in a wicked crossfire that just ends our life very, very fast. So we're still going to try it anyway. The best thing to do is usually go to somewhere like H8, because you can shoot across the 0 line staying safe, and then you can also shoot anyone that does go to somewhere like E7, and again, stay safe if you need to. But we're going to go here, use the 10 degrees gun depression, and farm up where we can. So we spot the 2 medium tanks in the middle, and seeing where our light tank is just YOLO'd, he's lit up a lot of people. So we're just going to take the opportunity to go after these guys. So we see the T-95 V3, put one shot in, go for another shot into his side there, because he's sort of tunnel vision on the light tank. Get a shot in that does tracks damage. Only if I can track this guy, that would be great. And there we go, with track and pen him, which keeps him pinned. Aim for that drive wheel, and the shot goes extremely low, not penning him, but keeping him tracked. Finally get another shot in that actually tracks and pens him. Hopefully we'll get a shot in to finish him off, and there we go. We secure our first kill of this game for 1,028 damage, 741 assistance for the tracking. And I think, okay, I'm going to push over and move to the next section. Oh boy, that's a lot of people. I didn't expect that many medium tanks to be there, which was a bit awkward. That could have gone quite very, very badly. But you know what? We'll turn this into a... That could have been a very, very bad time. We could have lost out quite easily and died. But we're going to turn this into a small victory. And that is, we're turning this into a crossfire. So we get up behind the M47 pattern, side of the turret, and the shot goes to the back of him. We aim for the engine deck of the M48A5 pattern. Why am I aiming for that engine deck? For that exact reason. Trying to set him on fire so that we get that little bit extra damage and it bleeds his hit points away pretty quickly. We see the M47 pattern. We're doing the exact same thing to that dude so that we can, again, just try and distract these guys, get rid of them, and take their attention off of my team that are facing them at G5. So we're keeping the shots flying into this M47 pattern. We're just being wary not to poke over too much, though, because of the M48A5. And again, we're going for that drive wheel engine bay area so that we can try and set this guy on fire. But now I'm pretty sure he will be reloaded. So I'm just being as careful as humanly possible when trying to shoot him, going through the cupola, and then trying not to take another hit. And we end up finishing him off. The SHAR 40T isn't firing at this point and is tracked, so I'm figuring, okay, this guy must have fired his whole clip. So I'm just going to sit here and take the opportunity to dump my shells into him, and he gets finished off. We're up to 4.5k damage with the 848 assistance damage, and there's 6 tanks left on the enemy team. And we notice there's 2 or 3 spotted down at HG2. So that must be them coming up through the little valley to come after our cap area. So this is why it's always important to keep an eye on what is going on the map, because I could have charged towards their cap on the 1 TD at A8, but the likelihood is I probably wouldn't get anything done, and if they decided to send all 3 to the cap and we only had 1 person sitting it, they'd just cap out and we'd lose, which would be a very bad time. So we see the C95 V3 across the way. We're just trying to see if we can angle for a shot on him, but we just run out of rock area to be able to see him. Keeping my eye across the way on the little ledges to make sure that we've got no tanks that are going to be trying to snipe at us, because there is a TD out there somewhere, and I don't particularly fancy taking a big hit, if we're totally honest. We got spotted by the guys down at H2, so we're going to move into a better position to try and shoot at those guys, while also keeping an eye on the T95E3 that was down at E4. And here we are. We're in the position we want to be. We get a shot into the back end of the SHA 40T. If we can get rid of that guy, that would be glorious. He is the threat, because that tank is utterly incredible in Era 1, because its clip is fantastic, its mobility is amazing, it's got good gun handling. It's just such a very, very good tank. So we managed to focus out the SHA 40T, get rid of him. RBRT the shot into the STA-3 to finish him off. And now there's just the T95E3 directly in front of us. Put a shot through his lower plate, and he gets finished off by the STB-1. Meaning there's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. A light tank that's somewhere, and this T95E3. So we go for the RBRT shot on the move, and it lands nowhere near, which is not shocking because this gun is really not that great, especially firing like that. He gets finished off, so we go for the shot into the RU, and we get a nice shot there into that guy. Got to make sure we give a good amount of lead because he is supremely quick. But naturally, just as we fire, he gets tracked. But we end up killing that RU with basically tracking him in place in front of the whole team, and we managed to get the final shot to kill him as well, which we'll always take. And we finished the game with a really nice total there with the victory. 5 kills, 6.8, nearly 6.9k damage, 2.3k base XP, 1700 assistance damage, the ace tanker, the sniper, the high caliber, with that 2.3, nearly 2.4k base XP. A fantastic game there for the STA-3, which, like I say, is a very good tank for an entry Era 1. It does exactly what most of the other entry Era 1s do, which is you can get about the battlefield, put yourself in a good supporting location, and you can just farm away because you've got pretty damn good DPM, pretty good gun handling, but you've got no armor, so you don't want to be the focus of people's attention. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!